Hi, I'm Jim Stergios. I'm the Executive Director of Pioneer Institute. As we head into 2013, the country and the Bay State face many challenges. The Institute is focusing on providing answers to those challenges here in Massachusetts and driving thought leadership on those issues on a more national basis in education and healthcare. Let me set out for you a few goals for the Institute this year. First and foremost, we are highly focused on charter schools, expanding choice, and improving the options for gaining access to vocational technical schools in Massachusetts. The fact is, since 1993, the Education Reform Act has done tremendous work in improving student achievement in the state. Where we haven't seen that kind of improvement is in places like Lawrence or Springfield, places like even in Boston, close to home, New Bedford. We want not just more charter schools, though that is a critical piece of moving ahead in those districts, but also better vocational technical options, as well as perhaps expansion of the METCO program, which is an inter-district choice program, to other cities in the state, to make sure we provide a whole set of options to kids in those districts that are having the most difficulty in improving student achievement and also lowering dropout rates. Second thing we're very highly focused on, and we have been since the start of Pioneer Institute, is making sure we have the very best academic content in our classrooms. Pioneer Institute helped drive a lot of the reforms in the 1990s, whether the MCAS test, providing for the highest quality science, math, and English language arts curricular frameworks. We believe great literature, we believe great history, we believe that teaching Algebra 1 in 8th grade, these are all things that we should be aspiring to in our schools and making sure that all kids have access to that. One piece that we want to add to that, it's the 1993 law. It's U.S. history. We want the highest quality instruction in U.S. history in the state. We believe that testing is a critical component of making that possible. It's in the 1993 law. It should have been implemented in 2009. We are pushing very hard to make sure that happens. Also, on a more national basis, we've been strong in our opposition to the national standards. The reasons are pretty simple. The national standards, which will apply to all 50 million kids in the United States, are much lower than the standards that we had before. The second reason is it will cost the state and localities a ton of money. It's an incredible distraction that will lower the quality of content in our classroom. And finally, there is that minor issue of the fact that it breaks 3 federal laws. We take the rule of law pretty seriously here. So the final thing in the area of education that's important to us is that we make sure that as we expand innovations like virtual schools, we do it well. Not just expand virtual schools, but we do it in a way that's highly accountable, and we make sure the mechanisms we put into place will lead to success in the classroom. We don't want to just see virtual schools or virtual opportunities for learning expanded if they're low quality opportunities. So that's our education agenda. Our next item in terms of priorities is healthcare. Pioneer doesn't focus on the whole enchilada, if you will. We're not focused on the national conversation per se. We're much more focused on Massachusetts and things that we can do practically to move the state ahead. First and foremost, Medicaid. It is now well above 1/3 of the state budget, and it is growing fast. Healthcare expenditures as a whole are now north of 50% of state expenditures in any one year. That is eating our seed corn that should go to other investments that are important, like education. Our goal is to provide innovation as well as really smart business-oriented ways to drive down the cost of providing Medicaid services while maintaining high-quality Medicaid services. The second thing we want to do here is we want to inject a market perspective into the debate over how to contain costs for the broad population. There was a law that was passed this past year that is very much a top-down government-run proposal. We believe that we have a lot of work to do to make sure that we can get businesses across the state to opt for more market-oriented policies such as health savings accounts, while also making sure those health savings accounts are highly accountable for delivering high-quality health care to our employees. Our third priority is jobs. It is always really the #1 priority. Education folds into that conversation, as does healthcare. Providing high-quality healthcare makes the attraction of new companies and employees to Massachusetts that much easier. The fact is that we as a state have chosen to take a path of picking winners and losers in quote-unquote sweet spot industries. That has not done very much for the state in terms of addressing our shortfall in the number of jobs we have. Just to give you a quick number, we're still about 100,000 jobs below where we were in 2001. We're not growing anywhere fast enough, and we want to really focus on that. Our approaches are those of making sure the cost of doing business for all businesses are lower, but also being smart about our brand in Massachusetts, which is one of a knowledge-based economy. We want to make sure that businesses that seek to invest and do research and development have the right kinds of policies to make that very attractive here in Massachusetts, to grow that strength that we already have here. We also want to make sure that businesses across the state have lower costs. Our unemployment insurance costs are off the charts. There are many others. We are very focused on those issues. Finally, every couple of years we choose one big issue to take on in the area of effective but frugal government. We believe in an effective government. We also believe that government should not be intrusive and it should be frugal with our tax dollars. In the coming year, we will be focused on pensions at the exclusion of everything else. We have a 10-part series on public pensions, state and local, where we're looking to look at solvency issues, as well as things like how to creatively morph the pension system so that we can actually attract a higher quality teacher or a higher quality public servant to public service. We have, over the past 5 years, made a significant investment in tools that you can use to poke around on issues that are important to you. So on the right-hand side of the homepage, you can find tools that allow you to do research on public pensions, on public employee salaries, on state expenditures of all kinds. How does your school do compared to schools in other districts? How does your district do compared to other districts? How does one school in your district compare to another one in your district? You can also take a look at local expenditures, how they compare to local expenditures in other communities. There's a broad array of tools that you can use. Our aim is to empower you so you can do research as well on those issues that are really important to you. Finally, one goal that I would set for you. I'd love to have you as a supporter of Pioneer Institute, the work that we do to make sure we have the very best schools, not only in the country, but in the world, that we have high quality healthcare that's affordable, to make sure that we can grow jobs and be a more prosperous state, and finally, that we have a government that is accountable to you and worthy of us. That's something that's worth supporting. I hope you get on board.